The 20th century modern dancer and choreographer Martha Graham said, "Great dancers are not great because of their technique, they are great because of their passion." There's a professional dancer whose training began in the bi-state region who might very well agree with that assessment. She's the redhead, second from the left on stage at the Two Hill Performing Arts Center. Heather McGinley has been a member of New York's legendary Paul Taylor Dance Company since 2011. The troupe was at the Two Hill in October of 2015 to kick off the 50th anniversary season of Dance St. Louis. It was a joyous homecoming for McGinley, whose talent, passion for dance, and laser-like focus on her goals have made her dreams come true.
I auditioned 5 times for Paul Taylor. The first was while I was still in college, and there isn't very much turnover in this company, which is also part of what makes it special. It's a family where there's only an opening really when someone has retired from the stage, and there might be 2 years sometimes without an opening. So like I said, I auditioned several times, and the 5th time I was the right person at the right time. One of the most thrilling days of my life.
Even as an infant, there were clues to the artistry McGinley would display as an adult. When she was 2 years old and living in Germany, where her father was stationed with the military, McGinley's mother enrolled her in gymnastics classes. In 1986, upon returning to the U.S. and settling in South St. Louis County, the preschooler studied tap and ballet 2 days a week at a Montessori school. But McGinley's parents were not looking to set her on a career path.
I put her in it because I thought everyone needs a little grace and a little poise, and everyone needs an ability to be able to present themselves in front of an audience, because you never know when that's going to happen.
McGinley was a bit older when she was invited to join a competitive dance team sponsored by a South County studio. She learned how to perform as part of a group, and her enthusiasm grew along with her trophy collection. But a major turning point took place when McGinley started the 3rd grade and the family moved to O'Fallon, Illinois. McGinley's training advanced to a new level at the studio dance station. There she got her first pointe shoes and choreographed her first solo when she was 10. Dance Station teaches a ballet method developed in the late 19th and early 20th centuries by Italian master Enrico Cicchetti. The rigorous, widely recognized Cicchetti method was designed for students wanting to become professional dancers.
I knew I loved to dance. I knew it was the activity I wanted to spend the most time focusing on. But it wasn't until a couple years later, maybe I was 11, that I knew I wanted a dance career basically as soon as I knew a career existed. As soon as I knew that people who studied dance could go on to make a living at this activity.
I believe she was in junior high, and the class went on a tour of the Fox Theater. And she made the comment, I am going to be on that stage one day.
What happened, yeah, they were backstage, and they were not allowed to go on stage. And afterwards, she was saying, do you know how hard it was? I wanted to run out there so badly and be on that stage and see what it felt like to look out at that empty audience. But she said, in her head, she said, I will dance on this stage soon. And 4 years later was the first time, she was 14, the first time she performed on stage at the Fox Theater.
Every Christmas holiday season during her high school years, McGinley performed as a Russian in the Nutcracker.
When she told us she wanted to be a professional dancer in a world-famous company, my response was, so you want to be poor and have your body hurt for the rest of your life? and I said, you know, Heather, you love math, chemistry, and physics. At one point, she wanted to be a math professor at a university, but write the book she would teach out of first. And I said, what about all those pursuits? And she said, Mom, I love those subjects, especially chemistry. I always did that homework first because it's so much fun. And she said, but my passion is dance, and I have to follow my passion. And that's when we decided you are so fortunate if you know what your passion is. And all that we could do as parents was help her pursue that dream.
Pursuing that dream took Heather McGinley to Butler University in Indianapolis, and a dance program consistently ranked among the top 5 in the nation. That's McGinley in Mid-Flight is the Dewdrop Fairy in a university production of The Nutcracker. But McGinley discovered she would be happiest not in ballet, but in modern dance. During a few summer breaks from Butler, McGinley studied in Eastern Europe and eventually caught the eye of a dance company in Poland. She was offered a position to perform and teach. There was just one issue Heather McGinley had to address first. The dancers wanted her to teach them the Martha Graham method, but McGinley would have to learn it first. So while arrangements were being made for McGinley's Polish work permit, she traveled to New York City to learn the Graham method at the Source, the school of the Martha Graham Dance Company.
The teachers at the school started encouraging me to really dig in to this technique and continue training, and they saw potential for me dancing in the main company. And I got a spot in the second company. Soon after that, one girl had been moved up and there was an opening, so I went and asked, what are you going to do about that spot? I would love to train further here and learn the repertoire. So I ended up getting asked to stay in Graham 2, and I did that for about a year and a half before I got a phone call from the director of the Martha Graham Dance Company asking me to join them on a tour. And that turned into more tours and a job with them.
But the desire to be part of the Paul Taylor Dance Company just kept growing. McGinley's hard work and persistence finally paid off in 2011. She's thrilled to have reached this milestone and grateful for the foundation she built here in the bi-state region.
I loved growing up in this area. I felt like the arts were accessible here. I saw many performances through Dance St. Louis and things that they brought to St. Louis. Particular performance that's still very vivid in my mind was I saw a performance of the Paul Taylor Company when I was in high school, and it turned out to be the premiere of one of my favorite Paul Taylor dances now that I get to perform sometimes, Black Tuesday, which they did the premiere at the Fox Theater here in St. Louis. So it's just a very special connection for me.
As she said one day, we were visiting her in New York, and everyone was buying lottery tickets because there were $600 million to be won or whatever. And she just stood there in the doorway, and finally she said, "I don't need to buy a lottery ticket. When I got into Paul Taylor, I won the lottery."